Greetings, this is Scholar Saunders saying, what's current? First and foremost, I'd like to extend my condolences to the families of those who were impacted and were fatalities aboard both the aircraft that collided last night. It's a tragedy all around. It's very sad. Um, I would like to say that in these moments, we have to find the reality and the truth. I don't mean to politicize. I don't mean to say one thing and not the other. But I wonder what would have happened if this was a privatized system. I mean, I have to give some credit, at least to the government, because these are very rare occasions that United States planes especially, I'm blanking on that, that United States planes especially should go down. And have zero survivors on either of the aircraft. This took place over the Potomac River near Washington D.C. It was on the plane was on its way to Reagan Air Base. I think it's what is it? It's hold on, let me make sure. Reagan Washington National Airport in Arlington County, Virginia. So there's a lot of things. This is the weird space that, it's situated in because it's Washington, D.C. / Maryland / Virginia. They call that the DMV, the District, Maryland, and Virginia. So it's a very, very trying kind of situation. And it just makes you wonder. I just wonder, what would happen if it was a completely privatized situation. Like I said, my mind goes out, not my heart, but my mind goes out to the people that, perished. Some of them were from the figure skating teams, national champions. They're coming from Wichita, Kansas, if I'm not mistaken. There was a Boston figure skating team as well, and they're happy and joyous and probably glad to come back home. I guess they're coming back home, and it just is a very traumatic and dramatic situation that has to be dealt with, because this should never happen. I mean, the air flight and space travel are the two top safest forms of transportation. They're the safest modes of transportation in the world. And it's weird when people say, "Oh, I won't get on an airplane," but they'll get into a car, which is probably one of the highest percentage of fatalities and injuries of any mode of transportation. But we still drive cars. There's still hundreds of millions of vehicles all over the world traveling around the highways and byways. So it's just very unfortunate and sad that these people had to lose their lives, probably most of them in the prime of their lives, to witness this, to understand that that was their final destination. Just like in the movies, it's their final destination. It's very sad. It's a very depressing kind of story. No really good can come from just the story itself. What can come is the aftermath, and that includes pressing for privatization for the aircraft and the aviation field and the aviation industry. All of it must be privatized. Even, I'll venture to say, the military should have private contractors that negotiate and navigate the various aircraft, while the military personnel control them and actually go into battle and engage the enemy and things of that nature. But the contractors are the ones that should be able to furnish the aircraft. They should be able to control the flight patterns and the flight plans of the aircraft. And so this doesn't happen. Because my point is, what's going to happen with the people that are in the government, the FAA and the NTSB, and the FAA is I don't want to say it wrong. Let me make sure I get it right. Federal Aviation Administration, FAA. NTSB is the National Transportation and Safety Board. Both regulatory entities. And they do not correspond with reality because they do not protect individual rights. That's the only role of government. The role of the private sector is to facilitate and create better opportunities for individuals on a large scale. That's the privatized model. Because I'm thinking about all the people, all the government people. Will they lose their jobs? Will they be censured? Will they be fired? I highly doubt it. I don't think they'll be fired or censured or, held accountable for these deaths. I don't think that's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is we're going to have multiple people, just rolling around, going through their desk and seeing how many other things they can possibly do to mitigate these things. But there should be no mitigation by the government. It should all be by private means. I mean, this is a very sad, very serious situation. It's a very, stressing topic. To wake up to, this morning, this mid-air collision, I mean, it's just, it's very, very trying, very trying. But we have to go through it. We have to get through it. We don't have to get over it. The families don't have to get over it. That's one of the things that the pet peeves of mine was like, oh, you'll get over it. You'll be fine. No, you won't get over it. Your father, your son, your daughter, your cousin, your uncle, your sister, your brother, you're not going to get over it. Your best friend, you don't get over it. You just pull through it. With every fiber of your being and every piece of strength that you have, that's what you do. That's the power of the human spirit. We're able to overcome all these different calamities and different tragedies that happen to us. We're able to create a space that is very welcoming to the thoughts of the individual. That's always paramount. It's always a very intriguing and powerful sensibility. And that's what I think is so powerful anyway, is the fact that we continue on. We continue to fight. We continue to live, to thrive, to flourish, despite these incidents, in spite of all the things that befall us. It's not like a sense is, well, business as usual, keep going. Because that's what they did on September 11, 2001. That still rocks my mind when they said, the first plane hit the North Tower, and the South Tower was just like shaking, of course. It was like, whoa, what was that? It was like a huge, explosion. And they were telling the people to get back to work. They're like, it's all right. It's just probably a malfunction or something like that. And then, bam, the other plane struck the South Tower. And I was like, oh, okay, now it's no, accidental case, nothing like that. So that's what it reminded me of. And the same thing that happened with at the Pentagon, right? Very close to this area on September 11, 2001. The aircraft slammed right into the Pentagon. And of course, people had conspiracisms and things like that. Conspiracisms are worse than conspiracy theories. There's probably conspiracisms regarding this particular incident. A civilian commercial airliner and a military helicopter. What are they going to say? Are they going to say, oh, well, this is some kind of sign from the government that, there should be more presence of vehicles to stop this kind of activity from happening? What are we going to do after that? What is the main draw? What is the main idea? What are we going to do? That's why I question you. So, you know, that's the really sad part. But like I said before, this is a very rare occasion that, especially that all fatalities happened. There were 0 survivors. So it's just sad. It was come from one presidential airline national airport to another national airport. Dwight D. Eisenhower National Airport in Wichita, Kansas, to Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport in Arlington County, Virginia. Just coincidence. See, that's when they start thinking about, you know, conspiracisms. They said, well, it has something to do with the presidents or something like that. They hadn't gone to another president's library, not library, airport, then they would have been okay. Or, you know, just goofy, weird, stupid, you know, nonsense, essentially. They were found, the plane was broken up into 3 sections. It was found upside down in waist high water. I could just imagine, you know, it must have. They took out 28 bodies as of 8 o'clock, about 3 hours ago. They probably got, you know, many more. But I could just imagine, you know, the horror and this disgust and everything that happened. But it did happen. That's the sad part. That's the very sad part. Salute, King. I see you, sir. I see you. Salute. And like I said, my condolences go to the families. They shouldn't have to experience this, but this is one another thing. That's what I'm saying. It's always like, you know, business as usual until, oh my God, we have another, you know, it's like some terrible, horrific event happens, and then you're left in, you know, a space where you're not able to understand exactly what happened. You're not. They're still, you know, they're gonna look at the black box. There's already air traffic control audio that that surfaced. One person says, "Oh my," on the recorder. President Trump has expressed his condolences for the families, and he called it a terrible accident and thanking emergency responders. He says, "May God bless their souls," but I don't think he knows. He's not really an atheist or a theist. He's like whatever the flavor of the day is. You know, he'll be like so for, you know, Jesus and God and everything. He's not an atheist like myself. He's not. He's really not a true atheist. He believes too much nationalism. He's a nationalist. He's more of a fascist, but he's not a complete fascist. But he's more so a nationalist than anything. I don't mean that in no nice way. All right, so this is not a giggle moment. This is not a funny moment. It's really sad. I can't explain this enough. They had the U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said the helicopter was doing an annual proficiency training flight, that its crew was fairly experienced, and that they had night vision goggles. Sadly, it didn't save them. That's the sad part. That's the sad part. That's very sad. Wes Moore, who's the governor of Maryland. So there was the this is what's so weird about the DMV. There's the district. There's the mayor that talked about it. The Maryland, Wes Moore, and I think Glenn Youngkin, the governor of Virginia, talked about it. So it's a very weird space, that DMV space. But I'll come back to you with more information, more news, maybe pertaining to this, maybe not. Probably on lighter, more foolish news, more nonsensical news about hip hop. But I will see you then. Thank you very much. Take care.